you have 4 enemies in this life, and only 4. Nafs, shaitan, hawa, and dunya. All the other enemies, if Allah sends them to you, it's a tribulation, but your real enemies are these 4. And if you can conquer these 4 enemies, all the other enemies are very insignificant. But the nafs is the number one. أَعْدَى عَدُوَكَ نَفْسُكَ الَّتِي بَيْنَ جَنْبَيْكَ. The Prophet ﷺ said, the most vicious enemy that you have, the most harmful enemy that you have, the most aggressive enemy that you have is your own ego between your 2 sides. And we all have them. We're born with them. Children have wonderful, beautiful side, but then they've got that horrible, childish, selfish side. It's mine. You know, when they grab a toy, it's mine. So this is something that, as you grow older, hopefully you learn to overcome that. But there are many people that behave like infants throughout their whole lives. So one of the most important things that we can do is the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just to remember Allah, to work on ourselves. We have to work on ourselves. I mean, we all struggle. I struggle with myself. We have to work on ourselves. We can always do better. I was today, I was in I had a meeting with some people that came. They were nice people, and I just really, because I was really busy with something else and I had some problems, I felt like, I really wasn't, I was rude basically to somebody, and I immediately, like after the meeting, I went up to her and I just said, I want you to please, I apologize. I don't think I listened to you attentively, and that was my mistake. And I think being able just to admit that you're wrong about things is really important. Not being defensive. The ego always defends itself. In fact, one of the most extraordinary scholars, Ibrahim al-Laqani, he's an amazing man. If you study his life, you just marvel. He actually wrote the Jawhara in one night. And when he finished it, he went to his Shaykh and he gave it to him. And his Shaykh knew what it meant. Like he had an opening, because it's a stunning poem, 144 lines of just crisp creed. And he took an oath with him. He said, from this day forward, I never want you to defend yourself. And that's a powerful practice of just not defending yourself. We have an amazing story of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, when a man was really abusing him in front of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet was there listening and smiling. And then Abu Bakr just couldn't take it anymore. So now his nafs came in, and even Abu Bakr had a nafs. I mean, it's the purest of all nafs after our Prophet ﷺ in his ummah. But he couldn't take it anymore. He started defending himself. The Prophet left. When he saw him later, he asked him why he left. He said, that man it wasn't true what he was saying. He said, I saw the angels defending you. And right when you began to defend yourself, shaitan came into the room, and I don't sit with shaitan. I mean, that is just such a stunning testimony to the power of fighting the ego. So what I would suggest first and foremost is that you begin to do a type of muhasaba. And we actually, Imam Zayd and I worked on something together called the Agenda for Changing Our Condition. And it's actually a program to work on the self, where you do a musharata, and then muraqaba, and then muhasaba, and then mu'aqaba. So you actually commit, like, I'm not going to backbite, and you commit to doing it for 40 days. 40 days straight, because it takes 40 days to really get the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave 40 layla, like He gave 40 to prepare for the meeting. He gave Moses 40 nights to prepare. And so 40, this is why in Jama'at Tabligh they go out for 40 days. There's a big secret in the number 40. And so you do 40 days of I'm not going to backbite for 40 days. And if you do, you have to do muhasab at the end of the day, and then you start over if you didn't do it. And then you do a mu'aqaba. You have to punish yourself. Ibn Wahb said, I made many oaths to give up backbiting, and I ended up fasting a lot, because he would break the oath, he'd do another, and then he'd have to fast. And he said, so I decided that I would give a dinar in charity every time I spoke ill of someone. And he said, because of my love for money, I was able to finally give up, because he made that his oath instead of fasting, breaking his oath. So I think that's something that you can practice, is just working on things. One of the things most of us in an insana, ala nafsi basir, the human being knows his own soul. وَلَوْ أَلْقَى مَعَذِيرًا. Even if he gives his excuses, he knows his own soul. And so I think most of us know what's wrong. It's very good to ask people. I mean, I always get shocked sometimes. I'll ask, do I do this or do I do that? And I say, yes, you do. That's an ouch. But it's something that you have to take reflection from other people. So that's important. And then the best thing, and this is absolutely well established, is prayer on the Prophet ﷺ. If you make it a consistent practice, your soul will align. And this is something witnessed by many, many people. So people that do consistent practice of prayer on the Prophet ﷺ, that it has an effect on the heart, and they really begin to behave in a much better way. But each of us have our trials and tribulations.